should really be focusing on the age though, Terry, man, because like it's all about the experience. You know what I mean? Like,
and I understand that. I get your point, but generally speaking, a 24-year-old's got more game time than a 20-year-old, and the 20-year-old typically has more game time. There's anomalies. You know, your Mao at 16 has got more experience than any 16-year-old that I remember ever having. But he's an anomaly in that, and I think from my perspective,
explain this accusation from Terry though, from Staffy though, Terry, that you want to build around 32-year-old Bruno, because I see that in the group chat and I didn't see the follow. I didn't see your response to this.
I ignore Staffy when he talks bullshit. That's the problem, because when he talks like that, because Staffy loves Man United, but every now and then he turns into a Liverpool fan, and it's frustrating. When it comes to players he hates, this little venomous side comes out in him. If that makes sense, it
has nothing to do with me hating Bruno. At least, listen, you got to give me credit that at least I came out and said he's been playing well, when other people wouldn't. There's a lot of content creators out there that wouldn't say it because their ego is just, it's too much for them to admit. As much as I hate Bruno, he's balling right now, so I can't say it. That's not me. I said he's been playing well. But you know what's crazy? I heard last week, and this is the misrepresentation that happens sometimes. I heard Henry. This is why Henry talks bullocks is a thing. He comes out and says, Bruno.
Bollocks.
I don't know how you guys say that word. Bollocks or whatever. He comes out and says Bruno had a great season. And I'm like, what? That guy was getting sent off for fun in the beginning of the season. He was atrocious in the beginning of the season.
No, he got sent off once.
3 times.
Hang on, but one of them was rescinded.
It got rescinded. It doesn't mean that he didn't get sent off for the day. He wasn't there for the day.
Well, it means it wasn't a red card tackle, so we can't be blamed for it.
All right, there's still 2 more.
If you falsely get put in prison, right, and then you get let out because they screwed you over I wouldn't still call you a criminal. You were still a criminal.
He was playing bad, which is my point. He was playing so bad in the beginning of the season. He goes on a good run, and now I'm hearing people say, "Let's rebuild around Bruno." Bro, who rebuilds around a 32-year-old?
But look, I'm going to put it this way.
Far off winning something.
I don't want to. I'll take it another step further. I agree with you. I wouldn't build the team around any player in the world. I would build a system and that profiles fit into, because if you ever become solely reliant, there's always going to be an element of being reliant on a player if and when we sign or develop superstars. So Mo Salah, Liverpool's system will still operate without him. His output and consistency of output is hard to replace. But I wouldn't ever build a system that solely relies on the specification of an individual. You need to build a system that works with or without people. And that's why Pep's been so successful in the last 8 years. That, we've got no striker. We can go to a false 9, but the system still works. You still need quality in your squad, right? I'm not saying you can just have dog shit players, but I agree with you. I wouldn't build anything around Bruno, but it's not because it's Bruno. I wouldn't build the system around. I would be buying profiles and then utilizing them within the system that is the system needs to be the centerpiece. And then you use the right profiles in the right areas, like what the manager has been saying about Casemiro recently. I'm using him in a way in my system that gets the best out of him, rather than so it exercises his pros rather than exposing his cons. And so I do agree with you. I wouldn't build it around Bruno either. I
said it by the way also in the context that we were talking about Ryan Shirky, and I was like, I'd love to get Ryan Shirky, but this fan base wants to rebuild around Bruno. That was the statement I made. Yeah, and then I had people in the chat like Canadian saying, "Oh, but we can have both." No, you can't. Well, I'm hearing KJ saying, "Oh, let's now keep Bruno and play him in the deeper position." No, we can't. Just because he's doing a job now doesn't mean he's a natural player.
I look at it this way. Yeah, but I look at it this way. One, he's not 32; he's 30, by the way. So you've added 2 years to him on that. He's
I followed what someone said here. I thought he was 30, to be honest.
No, he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old.
Hype, man.
Again, I look at it this way.
You said 32 in the group chat, Staffy. You said
you know what? I'm going to VAR check right now. Someone was wrong.
Go and check.
VAR.
Terry wants to rebuild around 32-year-old Bruno. That's what
I never said that.
I said 31. But at least I was up by a year. You added a year.
He's in his 31st year. We'll agree to script it. Look, I look at it this way. It's not about building it around Bruno. This is what's crazy about United fans. The same people saying, got to get rid of Bruno, are the same guys saying, we can't just buy kids and need experience. So it's about the blend. So I would like over the course of the next 3 summer transfer windows to eventually have a completely new midfield. I like, as long as it keeps getting better and better. I don't really care who leaves, as long as a collective we're getting better. But in the short term, we need Bruno. because we're going to need the experience that he brings. In the short term, people like him, DeLitt, Mads are going to be important if we're buying young players. We're going to need that. And what I have seen with Bruno, his improvement has coincided with a bit more pace and energy being put into the team, and there being more structures to the way we play. So I'm very comfortable with, for the next 2 or 3 years, Bruno still being an important part of our team and our squad. I really, really am. And it's horses for courses. You need a team that is adaptable where, okay, this game, this player is playing in that 10 role alongside Ahmad. The next game, we're going to change it because we need someone that's a bit more like this. I want to have that. Ideally, I want a squad like that. That is, if I think back to the very best version of my football club, we never knew who was being picked. There was a handful of players we knew, like Rooney starting most games. But even then, fucking hell, Rooney's on the bench today. Well, he was on the bench because there's a player coming in like Park Ji-sung to do a specific job on a player. I want that.
That's exactly why we call it Pep Roulette. If you know about if you play fantasy, you'll know about Pep Roulette, because it was very risky to pick certain players that play for Man City, because 1 week they start, next week they're being benched. It doesn't mean they had a bad game. But it's like, okay, if we're playing against a Brighton, we'd rather go for, this type of winger rather than that winger. So this guy can sit on the bench, right? Yeah. And that's exactly what I want for Chelsea as well. And that's why I explained to you, I would still keep Sancho as a squad player, because I think you can use him in different situations. But I wouldn't use him in every situation. You know what I mean? Whereas there's some players, bro, that you need in most of the games.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you an example with Bruno. I actually also think in the last 5 years, Bruno's been overplayed. The amount of games in cup competitions against, and I'm not talking lesser Premier, I'm talking League One, Championship teams, the amount of times he's still played, because in actuality, there hasn't been much more creativity in the team. Whether Bruno's here or not, if we have a star playmaker, they say it's Turk, how do you pronounce his name? The Leon Cherky. Say it's him. I want a situation where we don't have to play him all the fucking time. I don't want him having to play 50, 60 games a season. It'd be nice to be able to rotate, keep his legs fresh as well. So I want a nice balance there. Let's go to a few of the comments that have come in. David here says, lose Rashford, Shaw, Malacia, Anthony, Mount, Casemiro, Sancho, buy a striker. Turkey is a good option too, and another right wing back, though we have Matondo and something.
Who is this Matondo guy? I keep hearing about him. I saw news on him today.
He got his first. I mean, I don't know much about him, if I'm being blunt, because I don't watch MUTV anymore. But he's got his first professional contract. We have a lot of really good players in our academy at the moment, so that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. Out of context, did you hear what Merson said about Tuchel? No. I saw what the Guardian, fucking what a rag, tried to do to Harry Redknapp yesterday. Tried to say he did the Nazi salute.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the video. He made again, we used to be a country that prided ourselves on humor. He was taking the piss. He wasn't being derogatory, basically saying that Tuchel's a spy. And he was just saying it was not a Nazi salute. The way Jacob Steinbeck tried to make that sound like he did a Nazi salute, I could not believe they tried doing that to him. Is crazy.
That's how you know it's international break, man.
Yeah. Problem is that things are reported as blanket statements. United are targeting young stars. People interpret that as buying only youngsters. The balance of what might actually happen is not reported.
You know what, Patrick? I'm glad that you said that. Terry, let me respond to that, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of Chelsea fans on Twitter losing their head because they constantly keep seeing Delap's name be mentioned. But I'm like, the window ain't even open yet. You don't know what these guys are cooking up in the back. Last season, bro, we had Neto. We didn't have a single link for Neto. All of a sudden, we see a here we go from Fabrizio and Fabrice Hawkins saying Chelsea about to sign this guy. So when people are just getting mad and that, I'm like, bro, just take time and wait. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I agree with that line of thinking. It's a massive. People again, they go to the nth degree every single time. And it was only a few months ago on socials, everyone was saying, "Oh my God, we're not going to get kids anymore. We're going to abandon our youth policy at the football club." People were literally panicking. No more youth players are going to come through because they were looking to sell Garnacho. We're not going to sign anyone. Now it's like, no, we need experience. We don't need youth players. People they're up and down like crazy. It's just sometimes just let things cook a little bit. This is an interesting comment, but I want to respond to it because I feel like it today. What? You're part of the United stand now? Yeah, Terry. You know when someone puts "yeah," it's a very passive aggressive way of talking in that context. Then he says, "Sold out." Yeah, I've had a few people say this to me. I've sold out. What have I sold out? What am I saying different about my club, Man United, on the United stand that I'd say that I don't say on the football terrace? Or do I say different things on each platform? The answer is no. I say what I want. I'm not coached. No one tells me what I can and can't say. Of course, I'm going to be respectful. So I will swear maybe more on the football terrace because it's my platform. That's me respecting. It's like I swear in my own house. I wouldn't go around Don's house and just start swearing because it's not my home. But sell out? No. I was given an opportunity to go on the biggest Man United platform in the world and speak what I believe to be right about my football club. That is why I took that opportunity with both hands, because I get to speak to the biggest Man United audience on God's green earth. So if you want to consider that selling out, you can. My opinions are the same. I'm just speaking to a different audience now, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, if you think that's selling out, then fair enough. But you've got to show what I've sold out. Selling out would be, I backed Ineos fully 100%, which is, by the way, an exaggeration. I don't back them 100%. I went on the United stand and go, yeah, Goldbridge, you're right, they're pricks. That would be a sellout. Someone who completely abandons their opinions because of moving platforms. Show me where I've done that. If you can show me the evidence that I've done it.
You know,
yeah.
You might abandon your principles. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't. You know, I think the same thing. But
listen, I got invited, but I didn't want to be a sellout like Terry, so I didn't join. So Terry's
well done, Daffy.
You wish, bro. You wish.
True integrity.
Hang on a minute. You've sent me 4 voice notes in the last month. Please ask Mark if I can come on. Please. No, he hasn't.
Don't expose me. Don't expose me.
Don even said he'd change teams to come on the United stand. So no, I'm only messing. But now listen, it's like, end of the day, it's an opportunity to speak to a massive audience, to give your view and say on your football club. And it was an honor to be invited, and an even bigger honor to be asked to host shows on it. So yeah, there we go. That's it. Simple. Done.